Hi, you four, welcome to our next lesson in RE for this term. So again, before we get started, just a reminder that if you need to pause the video at any point, that's absolutely fine. It might be that you need to pause it to answer a question or to copy something from the screen. However, whenever you need to pause it, that's fine. Just make sure you watch the video through in its entirety the first time, and then the second or third time you can go back through and skip parts, rewind and fast forward as you want. So we're going to be thinking about how Hindus show their faith, but before we do that, we'll start with our knowing more and remembering more. So here are your four questions. Question one, a life journey identifies significant times in your life. True or false? What do you think? Question two, you start your journey when you A, have a birthday, B, are born, or C, when you die. What do you think? Write the correct answer down. Question three, your journey when you die. So what's the missing word? And question four, there are and milestones. Now, we've talked about this quite a lot in year four already, so it's remembering those two key words, one beginning with R and one beginning with S. Okay, once you've written your answers, get yourself a different color pen or pencil if you have one, so that we can tick and fix our answers on the next page. This might be a good time to pause the video if you haven't done your answers yet, and then when you're ready, you can carry on. So here they come. So question one is true. A life journey identifies significant times in your life. Question two, your life journey starts when you are born. Question three, you end your journey when you die. And question four, there are religious and secular milestones. So just to recap, religious are ones that are from a religion, such as Christianity, Hinduism, Judaism, those kind of things. And secular are those things that we all might do, such as you think about your learning from before Christmas, when you all start school, would be a secular milestone. It's an event that happens, and it doesn't matter about your religion. It's something that happens to all of us, or most of us. So we're going to be thinking about what is puja and why it is important to Hindus today. And to be successful, you'll be able to explain what it is. And the yellow one's a bit tricky to see. I can understand why puja is important to Hindus. I can use technical vocabulary correctly in my explanation, and we'll talk through the vocabulary before we start. And your challenge for today is suggesting reasons why it is important. So let's think about our knowledge organizer. We can see that we've got highlighted today this second question about what is important in a Hindu life. And we're going to be thinking about deities. Now, deities, it says here, the word in English often used for Hindu gods or goddesses. Deity means God. So it's a word that is the same, means the same thing as God. And murtis, the statues or images of the Hindu deities. Hindus believe that during worship, the spirit or presence of the god come into the murti. So it's the statues or images, the representations of the Hindu gods, the Hindu deities. Okay, so let's go through our vocabulary. It'll be my turn, your turn. Please do say the words back to me. It helps, that repeating of the words helps your learning, helps you to remember the information a bit more. So keywords that you know, my turn, your turn. Journey, good, well done. Ceremony, perfect, well done. And words we are going to be introduced to today, which we have already heard. So my turn, your turn. Murtis, deities, puja. Fantastic, well done, year four. Okay, so to get us thinking, how would you describe a god? Now, it says here that it's because God is difficult to describe, Hindus often use their five senses to help understand them. So, what are the five senses? Okay, good. So, just to remind ourselves, in case we didn't get all of them, we've got sight, touch, our hearing, taste, and smell. So, if we had to think, if God could be understood by touch, what would God be like? What would God feel like? And can you give a reason? Use your because sentences. Tell me why you think that. So if you need to pause the screen while you think about the answer to that question, please do. So you might say that if you were to think about the touch, you might choose something that is soft or warm to the touch, that feels like, I don't know, a nice warm blanket that you might wrap around you because it makes you feel safe, for example. Okay. Or it is something that is smooth and it's just that nice touch feeling, whatever that might be for you, whatever it makes you, whatever it is that you touch that makes you feel warm or soft or calm, perhaps. That's just one idea from me. So we're going to watch a quick video now, and in the video, I'm going to show you this first, but you can always pause the video anyway. Pause this video. In the clip, we see Simran holding a tray over her brother's head. She talks about Hindu deities, Hindu gods, and Hindu beliefs. We've got some images here of some gods. Can you remember what Simran says about the gods? And can you think about how many gods did she say there are? So we've got some here. This doesn't mean this is the answer. So we're going to watch the video and I'll come back to this at the end. So keep these things in your head. What does Simran say about the gods? And does she say how many gods there are?
Let's get to it. Hi, I'm Simran, and this is my brother Virj.
Yo, what's up, guys?
I'm 14 and my religion is Hinduism.
There you go. Done.
My hobbies are music and photography.
Smile.
I also love playing with my brother. Virj is 11 and his favorite hobby is taekwondo. We're vegetarian.
This food looks a bit tasty.
It's a big part of being Hindu. We believe God exists in everything, so it's important to respect all living things.
It's really fun being vegetarian because all those dishes, they're so tasty and the spices are nice.
For dinner, we're having pani puri.
You dip it in the mint, then you get some amla, and then
you give it to your sister to eat. Hindus believe life is a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth, and every action we make has an effect, called karma. This means how I live now will impact how I live in my next life on earth. If I'm really good, I hope to be freed from the cycle of rebirth and become one with God. Hindus believe in one God, who exists in everything. It's quite confusing. To help us understand, names, images, and qualities are given to millions of gods and goddesses. This makes it easier for me to think about God and helps me focus during worship.
Okay, so in that video, you would have got the answer to these two questions. Now, I'm not going to tell you because you can go back and rewatch it, see if you can find it out for yourself. So if you need the link to the video, it's at the top here, or you can just rewind this video that I've recorded for you and you can rewatch it that way. So we're going to move on in our learning a little bit now, and we're going to think about what puja is. So puja is a daily routine for Hindus, and it's made at least once a day, usually in the morning, and it is an act of daily worship. A bit like we have assemblies every day in school, which is a act of daily worship. Hindus will have puja, which is done at least once a day and usually in the morning. And over here in the orange, it is a simple form of worship using mantras, which are a type of prayer, and they will make offerings as well. And over here in the purple, it says, at the end of puja, any food offered to the god is shared out amongst the worshippers, and the food is known as prasad. It's a special name for the food that's shared. Now, many objects of worship are used during puja at the shrine appeal to the five senses of sight, hearing, smell, taste, and touch. And this is because it involves the whole person in worship. Rather than just what we might see, what we might taste, we think about all of our five senses. So Hindus worship in many places. Don't always go to a sacred temple to do it. And if you look carefully, there's a big arrow pointing here to help you. In this shop where this person works, they have got a shelf with some things on it, some artifacts on it that will help this person to pray and to carry out their worship. So let's zoom in, have a bit of a look. We've got our murtis, which are our statues of the gods or images. You might recognize some of these. Okay, so thinking about the mandir, which is the Hindu temple where people can go to pray and to worship, isn't always the same as doing it at home. So we've got two places. We've got the mandir, which is the Hindu temple, and then we've got the shrine at home, which you can see in this picture at the bottom. So it's important for Hindu people that they can pray anywhere, which is why we might have the mandir, which is the temple, or you might have the shrine at home, or you might have statues of gods. You might have your shelf in a place you work to help you as well. So we're going to watch a couple of other videos for you now, and we're going to be thinking about the puja and the Hindu worship.
How to have a puja at home. Hindus offer a puja or worship ceremony every day in the home, typically early in the morning. There's no set program to follow, and rites can be as simple or as elaborate as you'd like. You will need a home shrine with murti, or images and icons of a deity or deities, small brass and/or silver pots, a large metal tray, ghee or clarified butter for lighting the lamps, a standing oil lamp, small lamps with cotton wicks, a deep tray, incense sticks, an incense burner or matchstick, scripture, sacraments and offerings from your tradition, a hymn recorded or live, and bells. Step 1. Avoid consuming food for at least an hour before the puja. Step 2. Prepare items for the puja, which can vary depending on the deities worshipped and individual choice. These can include sacred water or milk, uncooked rice mixed with turmeric, fresh stemless blooms or loose flower petals, and sacraments of one's tradition such as red powder, sandalwood paste, or holy ash. Step 3. Place the items you are using in the small bronze or silver pots, and then place the pots on the large metal tray. Step 4. Bathe and put on clean clothes before entering the shrine to maintain the space's sanctity. During their menstrual cycles, women customarily don't partake in a puja. Step 5. Enter the shrine with your family. The holiest time for puja is considered to be just before sunrise. Step 6. Use ghee to light the standing and smaller lamps. The standing one usually stays on all day. Step 7. Light incense with a burner or a matchstick. Step 8. Express your devotion to the murti of your selected deity or deities. The images allow direct communication between participants and the deities. Hindus do not worship the murti themselves, they worship God, who is present in the images. Step 9. Place the murti in a deep tray and bathe them with sacred water or milk. Sacred water and milk can be found in stores specializing in Hindu worship items. Step 10. Remove the tray used to catch the sacred water or milk. Step 11. Dry the murti and dress them in colorful clothing. Step 12. Recite prayers and passages from scriptures such as the Vedas. Step 13. If you are using them, smear powder, paste, or ash on the murti. The puja leader can also smear these on devotees' foreheads as blessings. Step 14. Make other offerings such as rice, fruit, or flowers. Distribute food and flowers to devotees. Step 15. Play a song for the deities. This could be a popular recording of a hymn, known as bhajan, or a family member can sing. It all depends on the type of puja. Step 16. End the puja with arti. Wave the lamps or a tray of lamps in front of the murti in a circular clockwise motion to represent the cyclical nature of creation. Arti is often accompanied by the ringing of bells. Did you know? During a car puja, new wheels are blessed.
Okay, so now we've watched that video, we can recap some of the things on the screen here. So we've got the image of God is awakened by the lighting of flame, and you'll remember from the video as well that the flame was offered in a clockwise motion. It's also the sound of the prayer, which is the mantra and the music, or it could be the ringing of the bell. So when we look at the Hindu temple, so when we think about the Hindu temple, first picture you got here, you can see the bell, and this is rung to help focus the mind during worship. Now, what noise do you think would sound holy or peaceful? or would calm or focus your mind. The other thing that happens is there is the sacred word Om, which is a sound symbol for the Brahman, and you can see a symbol which represents the sound there. And this word is chanted repeatedly during worship, again a bit like the bell, to help focus the mind and be focused on prayer and worshipping. And as we talked about earlier on, food offerings called prasad are placed on the shrine, a bit like at the home temple, the home shrine, sorry, and the family shares the food after worship. But question for you, some thinking time. Why might food be important in worship? What do you think? Okay, so when we think about the puja, the arti or the diva lamp, and you can see an example of one here, is used during puja to communicate with God, and it also symbolizes that worship removes darkness, that there is that light. And if we just go back a couple of slides, we have that reminder that the image of God is awakened by the lighting of a flame. So it's important in thinking about communicating with God, being close to God, and that it removes the darkness. Up here on the right, we've got incense, which is burned to remind Hindus that Brahman is everywhere. And just to remind ourselves, Brahman, this is a sacred word, Om, is a sound symbol for Brahman, and it's chanted repeatedly. So we have incense, which helps us remind that as well. And the incense is burned before the image, before the murtis, before the symbols, the statues or the images of gods. And we can see an example of an image here of a murti. So it says images or statues of a god are placed on the shrine. And this particular image is of the god Lakshmi. Okay, so when we recap what happens at home, we have got our murti, which is the image or the statue of one or more gods that the family has specifically chosen to worship. The murti helps the person to focus on their god and the abilities or the role of their god. The murti is washed regularly. So different gods have different purposes and represent different things. So you might pray to different gods, different murtis, different deities on different days or for different reasons. Incense, as we talked about before, they're lit to purify and cleanse the air where the prayer is being said and to create a holy atmosphere. The bell is rung at the start of the puja to let the deity know worship is about to start. And Hindus feel it's unreasonable to expect something as great as a god to be sat around waiting for humans. So instead of them sat there waiting, thinking, oh, it's 9 o'clock, and I know that they'll do their prayer at 9:20, we call the gods to us rather than waiting around. And the lights, we have a candle here on the stand. Light is moved around the shrine, symbolizing the presence of their god. First, they pass their hands over the flame, then over their head. This symbolizes being covered with the presence of God. And at the bottom, we've got some offerings, and you can see fruit and flowers there. And also in the video, we saw there was rice. And these are seen as symbolic gifts of love from the worshipper to their deity. Next one along, we've got water, and this is used for purification. Water is offered to the gods, and worshippers will take 3 sips before saying their mantra. Some shrines have water from Ganga, which is a river, the river Ganges, which is in India. And just to remind us that a mantra is the same as a prayer. And the last one, we've got some kumkum powder. Worshippers make a paste from this powder and use it to mark their forehead. This is a sign of their devotion and the blessings and protection of their God. So you might want to pause this video at this point so you can remember those things and take it in, because you're going to need this for your independent learning today. So your turn. You can draw a picture of the puja tray in your book, which is the tray, all of the objects, the silver or gold tray that everything is kept on. What that looks like, you can decorate it however you want. Once you've done that, choose the right name for each object on the puja tray from the list. You can see them underneath here in red, and label the picture. So, bit like this one. So think about choosing the items from here and labeling it with your objects in it. And remember, choose a ruler when you draw your lines between your drawing and the label. So where on your tray would you put your spoon? Where would your pot of water be? Where would your Diva lamp be? And your Diva lamp is the one that would have the candle in it. Once you've done that and you've drawn your beautiful picture of your puja tray and all of your things on it, write a definition underneath of what each object is used for. And you go back through the video and find out this information to help you. So the bell, you might write the word bell and then next to it, write why a bell is used. So in this example, a bell is used to call the gods to prayer or to the worship at home. Okay, so you might want to pause it while you do this activity, and then when you're ready, you can move on to the next one. Okay, so the second one is about copying out this passage and filling in the gaps. Now, I know in year 4, you are very used to doing things like this, so this shouldn't need much explanation from me, but just to recap, you have the words down at the bottom and you need to fill in the gaps. Now, I know there's a lot of writing, and what would be good is if you could write it out, because that will help you. Okay, so instead of just filling in the missing gaps, if you do write it out, it will help you to remember that a bit more, or if at least you say it. So when you found the word, say the sentence complete with the word. So if we take that first sentence, Hindu worship of gods and goddesses is called, what is it called? Okay, so you fill in the missing word, then repeat the sentence. So that's the end of our learning for today, year 4. I hope that you have learned something from that, and remember to go back and rewatch the video if you need, and I will see you next week for more RE.